In 1944, Hitler's 1,000-year Reich was coming to an end. The Soviets were in Poland, the Italians had switched sides, and the French had been liberated, and the Allied forces were at the German border 233 days earlier than they had planned. Now, the Allies were ready to target the industrial heartland of Germany, the Ruhr. This was one of the most strategically important regions in all of Germany, and its capture was crucial. Between the Allies and the Ruhr was the city of Aachen, which was the birthplace of Charlemagne, and very symbolically important for Hitler. And Hitler just loved symbolism, so he would hold this city till the last man. Aachen would be the first German city to fall under the control of the Allies. After Hitler's evacuation orders, the city population had been reduced from 165,000 to just 20,000. But by the time the man put in charge of the city's defences arrived, von Schwerin, just 7,000 civilians remained, unable to leave the city. Schwerin could see the writing on the wall. He had 12,000 men to defend against elements of the 12th Army Group, the largest group of American soldiers ever to serve under one commander. He sent a letter to the Americans offering to surrender the city, but the Germans intercepted that letter, and Schwerin was arrested by the Gestapo. Hitler sent reinforcements to the city, which prepared for a desperate defense against the American forces. Now, the Americans were at the end of their supply lines, so they did have to pause for a second to resupply, but soon enough, the attack was ready. They launched an encircling movement to capture the city, but, facing heavy resistance, they decided to begin the capture of the city before the encirclement had been completed. On the 10th of October, a surrender ultimatum was sent to the city. No response was given. Hitler wanted to ensure that the Americans would never control this city until every German soldier in it was dead. The 1st Division, encircling from the south, was selected to break through the city's defences, but they could only spare a mere 2 battalions to invade the city. Meanwhile, the German defenders were down to just 5,000 men, 1,500 more than the Americans had estimated. In other words, these 2 attacking battalions would be outnumbered 3-1. The plan was as follows. The 3rd Battalion would secure the high ground north of the city, while the 2nd Battalion under Lieutenant Colonel Daryl M. Daniel would dislodge the German forces in the city centre. But he would not have a single reserve. All his forces would be thrown into the fray at once. When 2nd Battalion began its attack, its strategy was to painstakingly clear every house. All buildings were assumed to have German soldiers inside until they knew otherwise. They searched every room of every building and left no civilians in their rear. It took them 9 days to clear out the city suburbs, but they got it. After that, the Americans got ready to attack an aircraft base and got ready to blow the door down with a flamethrower, but the flamethrower didn't work. So they lit it with a match, and after one puff of the flamethrower, they set the door on fire, and 1,200 people surrendered in that aircraft base. One last German counterattack was launched. The Americans repulsed the attack and pulled up a 155mm gun to blow up the remaining German tanks and pillboxes. The commander of the Aachen garrison told Berlin that he would never ever surrender, before promptly giving himself up to the American forces. The now encircled and remaining Germans were finished off, and just like that, the door to the industrial centre of Germany had been flung right open. A historic German city, and the birthplace of Charlemagne, had fallen. The Third Reich had begun to collapse. Within a matter of months, the war would be over.